if I want, for instance, 8 buttons, I just go in here and I set it to 8. And I got an array index overflow, obviously. For those of you who actually paid attention, you need to know that I also need to increase this thing here up to 8. This trigger debug window is annoying as hell. Just gonna move it. There we go. And we have 8 buttons instead of 5. And it should be a bit taller. Oh, width seems fine now. But I don't want 8 buttons, I want 5 buttons. Reduce it to 5, gonna reduce this to 5 as well. Don't really need to do it, but it's nice for memory consumption. No need to use memory we're not gonna use anyway. Additional height, set this to 75 maybe. How much more do we need? 75 is fine. Alright, so there we created our dialog. That was easy enough. Obviously the dialog does not do anything yet. So now we're going to have to write some functions to make the dialog actually do something. So let's get started on that. I'm just going to think how we're going to do this. I think the easiest way, or the best way to do this, if you want to make a truly universal dialog, is that you keep inside your dialog here. I'm going to keep a reference in here about the dialog items, which items are in the list. So I'm going to dialog items. It's going to be text. It's going to be an array, so we say we support up to 20 items. Max is going to be 20. Okay, this is a bit confusing with the dialog items and dialog item list, but whatever. You'll see how it works in a minute. And then we're gonna make another one. Player settings. And duplicate up this one. And player selected item. It's obviously going to be 0. Current. List item. It needs to be an array since we need this for per player. Same as this one. Alright. That's all we need. The current list item is going to track where in the list we are. So when we click down on our scroll button, this thing is going to be increased. And when we click up on our scroll buttons, it's going to be decreased and so on. The selected item is going to track which item we have selected in the list when we press the list, so we know which item is selected. And just for the heck of it, I'm going to make a scroll speed. Which is going to be 1. You could increase it later, so you scroll 2 items at a time if you have a very long list, or 3 or 5 or whatever. So that should be fine. Alright, so we're ready to begin. What we're going to do first is we're going to make a system to fill this dialog items, this text here, with text this way. We can, when we want to create a dialog for one unit library, we can just fill it with a text from this unit library. And then we can display the dialog. That way we have a little thing, or as few things as possible, linking the unit and hero library with the dialog. Well, obviously there's going to need to be some specific code somewhere that fills this dialog items text here. How you do that is a bit up to you. There's many ways of doing it. I'm going to try to show a good way of doing it. So let's get started on that, filling this list. So we're going to create a new support function here. New action definition. Dialog add list item. I'm going to copy one and clear list items. I'm going to code clear list items first, as it's easiest to code. Just need to set the variable. I forgot to add the variable here, apparently. Max and our current, and that one's going to be 0. Obviously, it could have some more logical names than me, but dialog items current equals 0. That's how we wipe it, the list. I'm not actually going to remove the text. You could do that if you want to be thorough, but anyway. Text. Alright. And here we're just gonna current item. Same thing as we did earlier for the unit libraries. Just gonna take our selection dialog settings, current +1. Then we're gonna check here if the variable current item, section dialog settings, max items, if it's less or equal to, then we're fine. Then we can add this. If not, we're gonna add debug message here. Do not show in the game, and too many list items added. Dialog. You could write a more detailed. You could like write the name of list item or whatever you want, the text that was passed in or something. I don't care. I'm just gonna write it like this. You could also make your own debug function. Maybe I should do that just for to show you how to do that as well. I showed it previously, but it's really easy. So new action definition, debug message, and parameters the message as a text. If then else, gonna add a new variable here. Debug on, it's gonna be a boolean. And we're gonna put it to true for now. And then we simply do if debug on equals true. Then debug message. Okay, I named it exactly the same as the internal one. That was not intended. Probably should rename it a bit. Do not. My map debug message, whatever. It's not that important, but obviously you might be able to see why this could be useful if you want to do additional stuff when debug error happens. It's a lot easier to have a debug message function, because if I suddenly later on, well, you can now flip debug on and off by just flipping this variable, and if I later on should decide that I want to do some more advanced printout or something, I can do that as well. Sorry about that, just getting some water. Alright, let's keep going. Now we need to do two things here, just like we did earlier. We need to set the current this one to our variable, and then we copy up that one, and we need to set our, not the max, the text here, using the variable as the index to the text passed in. And that's it. Now we can fill the list with dialog items. Now we need to write code to update the list. So I'm going to write a new function here, action definition. Update list. Doesn't need any parameter, it needs one parameter. Player ID. Yeah. I kind of forgot something here. Obviously,